Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Get Crystallized Show. I am your host, Coach Crystal. And like crystals, strong women are made under pressure. And today I am super excited because I have an amazing guest. Her name is Pauline, and I'm going to Malubay. Yes, and she'll correct me if I said that incorrectly. But I want to tell you a little bit about this inspiring women. So, Pauline, when she was volunteering in Africa, she witnessed how she had a chance to build a business that empowers women. And this insight stuck with her. And that is what drives her. She lived with anxiety her whole life. She's a woman of color, a child of an immigrant, high achiever, and it was crippling her. Then she faced an ultimatum. She took a leap of faith into entrepreneurship and found that it appeased her anxiety. She was in control and owning her life. She unlocked the key and empowered herself. And now she helps women become free and wealthy entrepreneurs. And she uses her background in big tech and startups to help women build and scale businesses and be their own CEO role without sacrificing their time and sanity. And today, I feel really blessed because she's going to be talking about how she lived creatively with anxiety and the mental health issues that almost crippled her career, but now fuels her mission to empower women through entrepreneurship. So, without further ado, I am so excited to introduce to you all Pauline. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Pauline Malubay, and I support visionaries with strategy, coaching, and implementation support. And I'm their right-hand partner that gives them the space to really own their CEO role so that they can execute on their fun business projects and see revenue growth and success in their business. So I'm so happy to be in the Get Crystallized shows. I love the name, by the way. It's such a great name. I love it. Happy to be here.
So I would love for you to speak about, your past where sharing your experiences living with anxiety, because a lot of my audience, they perhaps have experienced that, whether it is through trauma, or whether it is just the pandemic alone and the uncertainty of the pandemic, or maybe they've been living with anxiety their whole life and it's stunting their growth, whether it be in their career, in their health, in their relationships. So I'd love for you to share a little bit of your story and how you overcame that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that you really need to confront is that everyone has anxiety. When it's out of control and it takes over your life to the point where, yes, you freezes, you don't take risks, you don't take new opportunities because you're scared of it or fearful, or you're sleeping late at night, or you have insomnia. That's when you have to really accept that there is a problem. There is a problem, and you have some kind of it's possible that you might have a disorder, like an anxiety disorder, in a clinical sense. And the first thing that you should do is really be curious about it. And I do a lot of meditation. I'm actually a Buddhist. So, whatever you need to do, if you're Christian, if you just want to be, you take for a walk or meditate on it, but just really be curious about what you're feeling and how you're reacting to specific triggers in your life. And you can be curious about anxiety, and you can do the research in a clinical sense, what it is seen clinically, and really look at it from the point of view of this is what I'm feeling, and this is something that I'm struggling with, and accept that, and be really curious rather than judgmental. Because we are so, especially as women of color, especially, oh my goodness, we are so mean to ourselves, and we almost romanticize suffering. It's like suffering is a part of life, but it's really not. It's really not. Like, it is, but it's optional. You can definitely, not be judgmental on what you're going through if you're struggling with something. And I'm pretty sure all of us have gone through our periods of struggle and suffering during the last 18 months, during the COVID-19 crisis. And so that's the first step.
I
Do your research.
I would love to just add on to that. I really appreciate that you said, meditate, go for a walk, and in other words, just pause, which is the exact opposite of what anxiety wants you to do.
Yes.
Because so I feel like anxiety can either be crippling in that it's almost tied with overwhelm, but when you meditate or when you go for a walk, it kind of slows everything down. And I love that you said create an awareness, because in our program we also say step one is that awareness.
Yeah.
And I love that you said look for the triggers. What's triggering you? What is triggering you? And I'd love to add on to that, journal about it, right? Put it
Yeah.
down on paper. What are those triggers that are creating that anxiety?
Yeah.
And and especially, culturally, uh being with Filipino background, anxiety and depression, it's not, people don't talk about that,
No, it doesn't
and
exist. What are you talking
right.
about?
And you hold it in,
That's
or
white people problems.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of cultures are the same, where it's not, where it's kind of like looked down upon, or oh, you'll be fine, or but really you're not,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
the reason why I say you should start with research is actually um anxiety is a survival. Like our lizard brain has evolved, and we've evolved because of anxiety. Oh, there's a tiger that might kill me, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna, all the biological physiological mechanisms that happens when you have anxiety is back in the olden days, like years, thousands and thousands of years ago, was to make you run and survive.
The
But
fight or
now
flight.
that anxiety trigger is an email from your boss. you know so it's different, and you still get the same cavewoman physiological changes that triggers anxiety, but the response is the situation in the modern age is very, like, the response does not it's not on the same level. So you have to be really aware, and that's why I always say start with the scientific research of what is anxiety in a physiological level, what it is to you, because people experience anxiety very differently.
Yes.
Some people procrastinate. I'm
Mm.
not one of those people. I'm the kind of person that if I'm feeling about anxious about something, I want to be prepared, like over
Mm.
prepare. Some people just procrastinate, like they completely go the other way, avoidant. So really know physiologically what it is for you. Is it a beating? Is it like you go clammy hands, sweaty? Do you start crying all of a sudden? For me, I talk very, very quickly. I know I'm getting anxious when I'm getting riled up in my communications. Some people, it's very similar. They experience anxiety very similarly to how they experience depression. So they don't leave the bed. They avoid doing anything. Some people, they throw themselves at their job. They have to be doing busy, 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 but they're not okay. So you really have to start from the place of self-awareness and just be able to identify, okay, that is an anxious behavior in myself. This is normal for me, but this is anxiety for me. And from there, that's how you can move forward, really. And like you mentioned in your coaching program, awareness is the key, because if you're not aware, you're not going to do anything about it.
You're so right. And I love the fact that you are so in tune with how do I respond physically. And I love the examples that you mentioned, because that's also a part of the exploration, that self-awareness in our program, where exactly what you said, when I'm being triggered, and it could be anxiety, depression, procrastination, all those things, is my heart racing? Do I feel a tension headache? Am I, like you said, clammy hands? Am I sweating profusely? And when you're in tune, it's like, oh, what is happening right now? So when the moment you feel those things, and you can hear yourself talking really fast, do you have like a quick, what we call flow switch, to kind of stop when
Yeah.
you can see yourself doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I meditate. I stop everything, and I get on my meditation cushion. I light a candle, and I literally just. Some people pray. Some people go for a walk. I would try to avoid, some people go, turn to alcohol and drugs and going out. Like, I will really try to pick an activity where you're alone with your thoughts and you're able to process things in a calm manner. I would suggest to people. So yeah, that's what I do. I literally drop everything. Sometimes when I have really stressful days, I would meditate 3 to 4 times. Quick 5 minutes, get on the cushion, breathe it out and see what happens.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
see
was
what
going to
comes.
ask you, how do you, because I know there's so many different forms of meditation. What works for you?
Yeah, so before I used to only be doing like 5-minute guided meditations, and that was all I could do. But as my practice has evolved, I can do silent meditations for 25 minutes, 30 minutes,
Wow.
sometimes with a simple bell, or sometimes with guided affirmations. So whatever really works, and it depends on my mood as well. Sometimes I start off in the morning just with stillness meditation. And then I would listen to some affirmations afterwards and listen to those, and then start my day. So I think it's quite important to have your routine as well. It might not be meditations for you. For you, it might be going to the gym. For some, it might be doing some kind of sport, going for a walk, walking their dog. There's different types of meditation. You can do sitting meditation, walking meditation. You can journal. Journal is also a form of meditation, of course. And what I found is it's important to just try everything and then see what helps you the most. And sometimes I journaled this morning and I haven't journaled in a month. So, but I meditate every day. So you might find that it's a mishmash of different things. And depending on how complex the feeling is, you might need to talk to someone about it. You might want to go and, get a counselor. I always promote talk therapy, because I think that, especially with anxiety, you really need an objective third person to help you look at things, look at the forest, because sometimes when you're in anxiety, you just zone in on the trees, and you need someone to be like, okay, I can see that you feel this way, but how about, having a look at this other perspective? And I think that you can only really get that from a trained professional.
Yes, 1000%. I am with you. So when someone, if someone is, feeling those anxious feelings, but they don't have the luxury to go
Yeah.
for a walk or to sit in a meditation, is there any go-tos that you have? Like, say you're, hosting a meeting or you're presenting and you can kind of feel it happening. Is there anything that you do that's a little quick kind of?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So some people really like having something to squeeze, or like a um soothing ring, or something that they can hold on to like ground them. Like, find something that you can ground.
Mm.
Maybe it's a ring, it's a bracelet, like a pebble, like a pen, just to make sure that you're here, you're safe, right? And some people, and honestly, I think it's okay if you're in a meeting and you're literally like in full view of everyone. Take a glass of water, drink it slowly. Take those 5-10 seconds to just breathe, and then be mindful, like really practice mindfulness in that moment, like you're drinking this water. And just the very act of being mindful and being in the moment will ease. Because what happens with anxiety is that you're in your head. You're not being in that moment. You're not experiencing the moment for what it is. You're thinking about something else. You're thinking about the past, the future. You're not being present, and you're robbing yourself of the present moment when you're experiencing anxiety. So what you need to do is do everything in your power to go back to the present moment.
Oh,
Whatever that needs to happen. Breathe, grab water, go to the toilet. I'm sure you can excuse yourself and do that. Splash some water in your face. Mm-hmm.
I love that. That, anyone can do, because I'll admit I'll have moments of anxiety which um they're almost like mini attacks, because
Mm-hmm.
and for me it's triggered by certain sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I know that it's whether it's like the echo of a mic, it's the oddest thing, but I feel like the room is closing in on me, and
Mm,
immediately my go-to is breathing deeply and just repeating to myself, I'm okay. I'm
yeah.
okay. I'm okay. But I love the taking a sip of water and just taking your time sipping it, or of course, like you said, everyone will be okay with you excusing yourself to go to the washroom and just, take a couple of breaths, splash your face with water, and just try to slow down. And like you said, it's all about being present, because anxiety, um, a lot of the times it could be tied to fear, right?
Yeah. It's very much tied to fear.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
It's always a fear of something in the future, or fear of what you've done in the past. It's always anxiety is a very specific type of fear as well. So it's definitely and this is why I think it's such a curious. I remember when a lot of people, I think anxiety is probably one of the most diagnosable. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure in the world, probably the most diagnosable mental health disease. So a lot of people have it, and people have it in different seasons in their life, of course. And yeah, and I think that the people experience it very differently. So you really have to be curious, but there's specific thoughts. There's a specific way that anxious people think that trigger their anxiety. So it's being very mindful of what those thoughts are. And for you, it's auditory, which is very interesting.
Mhm.
And that's why it's important to work with a mental health professional to
Mhm.
help you identify your triggers, because it's so different from other people. And some
Mhm.
people are not even aware that they're being triggered at the very moment, and then they just realize they are having a panic attack. Like I think I've
Yeah.
had a client before where she actually became a coach because she thought she was having a heart attack. She was in a corporate job. She was having she went to the A&E and oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. And they're like, no, you're not. You're having a panic attack. And she was like, no, this is a heart attack. She had no idea that she was anxious or has anxiety at all. And that was a panic attack. So people
Wow.
don't know it. They think it's just, normal.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, in a way, it is normal because a lot of us are experiencing it. But like you
Mhm.
said, there's different seasons, different degrees, and it's just a matter of, whether it be speaking to someone, a professional, or just starting to create that awareness around it. Because so many of us, we just accept that, oh, I'm procrastinating, but maybe, like you said, the root cause is that you're feeling anxiety, and that's just a way that you're reacting to it, is not
Yeah.
doing anything at all. Right?
Yeah. Especially for entrepreneurs. I really feel this because I support a lot of, entrepreneurs. And when someone is procrastinating, it's normally because of imposter syndrome. It's
Mm.
normally because they're fearful of taking the next step or going over the edge, because they're scared it's going to fail. A launch will fail. They won't sell. They're in their heads about it, comparing, with their peers in the industry, and they're like, maybe I shouldn't do it, but they're procrastinating. So I always, it's a privilege for me in my job, really, to be able to help a visionary go through that and go through it. And I always tell them, like, the only way out is in. So you need to look inside yourself and, like, figure out why you're hitting this block, and then we'll figure it out, and then we'll execute the actual to-do list. Because right now you're at this space mentally where you're not gonna go through this, because it's a mental thing. The resources are there. I'm here. We've got knowledge. We've got people, resources, but it's you that's not feeling it, and there's a reason for that.
It's interesting because, for whether it be women who are entrepreneurs, or whether women who want to step into that next level at their career, they can also experience imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Or whether it be even just, getting healthy, and they think, well, you know, I who am I to live my best life? Maybe they've failed so many times that they're afraid of failing again. And so, I would love, for just to wrap up, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give to a woman who is currently experiencing anxiety, and is, again, stuck, and is maybe suffering from procrastination, and it's really keeping her from, moving into that next role in her career, or jumping, and it's in her heart to be an entrepreneur, but she's scared, or, someone who really wants to lose the weight, but she's afraid and is failing again because that has been the pattern her whole life. What would you say to that woman?
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of small steps. So I think, especially with anxious people, we get overwhelmed because we get stuck in that space and we think about we think in extremities. It's either gonna be amazing or it's gonna be absolutely worse. And the people who freeze. I remember, actually, I laugh because back in the days, I remember when I first started my business, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be homeless. And then now that I've started my whole thing, it's like, no, I'm fine. Like, the worst thing that could happen is that I might have to go back into employment. So it's literally just being aware of that is how your brain works. Like, generally speaking, you think black and white. It's called black and white thinking. There's actually a term for it. So what you need to do is just reel it back down and think about what's the smallest step that you can take practically to go towards your dream goal. So you said to me, one of the examples in your group, right, is losing weight. I also struggle with this because I'm an athlete and I have to meet specific weight when I compete, and it's hell for me. I love food so much. So,
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I remember I just think, okay, well, take it one step at a time. And if you can't even do one step at a time, do one day at a time, or just the next minute, the next hour. And what can I do in the next hour that can help me towards this goal? And then just from there, build up. So I'm just trying to think of an example. So for example, if you're scared of starting your own business, what's the next thing that could help you without you running away from your dream, right? Maybe it's signing up for a course that helps you achieve that. Maybe it's joining an entrepreneur Facebook group and just making friends and seeing how other people are starting their businesses. For losing weight, maybe it's just drinking more water rather than snacking. Maybe you're just drinking more water and you're just replacing snacking with water throughout the day. Maybe it's just going for that 30-minute walk to the shops rather than taking your car. Actually, maybe America is a little bit bigger, but in England, we can do that. You don't have to take the car. Maybe it's climbing up an extra, taking that 2 to 3 stairs to your office rather than taking the elevator. So really think about the smallest thing that you can do. And I think I've never actually read the book, but I'm pretty sure the summary is getting to me, which is Atomic Habits.
Yes.
It's a really good book. Apparently, it's been suggested to me because apparently what I teach is very similar to what that book says. I need to read it.
Clear. You would love that book. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Good. So yeah, I think it's that. Just make sure that you start to develop these habits, and before you know it, it will all add up. So before I started my own thing, I was teaching English online. Like I still had a job and I was teaching English online. And I was like, okay, how can I make money in my pajamas with my laptop? Because I want to travel. I don't want to be in an office. And I did that. I still felt safe because I still had the 9 to 5, and I just grew it. I grew from there and I evolved from there. So really try to think about how you can validate your idea in your head, the smallest step that you can take. And from there, as you get stronger, you will be able to keep the anxiety in bay. Do I still get anxious attack, kind of, go a bit crazy? I'm like, what am I doing venturing out by myself? Yes. But now I'm stronger and I have my tools, or what I call, my anxiety kit: meditation, going for a walk, being active, eating the right food, having a therapist, all of these things. You will have your own toolkit, and it's very personalized to you. And that's what will enable you to keep going to achieving what you want, despite, having an anxious brain.
I love it. My anxiety toolkit. And what that says to me in like your bio is that you own it. You own it. And it's being okay with that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the number one thing is accepting, yes, I have anxiety, but it doesn't have to rule me. It doesn't have to own me. I can own it. And
Yeah.
so I love that anxiety kit. So one of the things that I wanted to start implementing on my show when I have amazing guests like you is asking you leaving us with, what is your legacy? how would you like to be known in, in not just in the entrepreneurial world, but what is the stamp that you want to make on this world in general?
Yeah. So I really want woman empowerment. Honestly, I think, and by that, financially. I really, my kind of 10, 20-year goal is to be able to invest in, I want more of us running unicorn companies. I don't want, especially in tech, which is my background, I don't want, everyone to be white men at the top. I want the women of color to be thriving. I want us to be, our startups to be invested. I want to be investing in woman-led businesses. So for me, that's kind of the legacy I want to leave. And ultimately, the message there is that I want women to own more stuff, not just stuff, but like own more of their life, have more choices, just own their dreams. To be honest, because I think for centuries now we've been stay at home, nurtured. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want us to be able to own the choices and just have everything that we want. You can have children and run a unicorn company. It's possible. It's completely possible. You just need the right help. You just need the right resources, and you need to have the confidence and the support system to know that you can do it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's like, I'm like, as you were saying that, I'm envisioning your crown and it's slipping, and I'm like, let's put that back on, right? Women fixing other women's crowns. Yes, I love that so much, Pauline. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your heart and your how you've dealt with anxiety. And if some of our audience want to learn more about how they can connect with you, where should they go?
Yes. So I have my own podcast. It's called How She Owns It. And I have a Facebook group called Operation Simplified. I help a lot of women entrepreneurs with operations and growing their businesses that way. And I also have my Instagram, CEO Pauline Malubay, and my website is helpmepauline.com. So very
Ooh, I
simple.
love it. Helpmepauline.com. That is easy to remember. And I just want to say thank you for all the amazing tools and nuggets and just sharing your heart and your mission to empower women to own it, to own their dreams, to own their, whether it's their anxiety, to own their place in the world. I love that so, so much. So thank you so much for being a guest on the Get Crystallized show. And I know that we will stay connected. And I'm sure you have touched and opened the eyes of a lot of the women that are listening and will listen. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you so
your
much.
knowledge and your passion with us here today.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.